Good morning, student. Today we're going to learn the new chapter, that is role of police and courts. The success of a government depends to a large extent on how well it is able to maintain the law and order. The judiciary and the police force help the government to maintain the law and order. So who maintain the law and order in the state? The police and court, that is judiciary. Their main aim is to check the crime. Now, what is the role of the police? The main role of the police is to arrest the criminal. The government gives power to the police to take action against crimes. In case of some types of offenses, the policeman, on the basis of reasonable evidence, arrests a suspect without the permission of a court. Such offenses are called cognizable offense. They include murder, robbery, theft, kidnapping, and rioting. If the offense is not cognizable, the police need a warrant to arrest the suspect. And warrant is the written permission given by a court. Now, other than that, bail is a money that somebody agree to pay if a person accused of an offense does not bear for trial. All offenses are not bailable. A person arrested for a bailable offense has the right to be released on agreeing to pay bail without having to apply to a court. If the offense is not bailable, the arrested person must apply to a court for bail. The court may grant bail or refuse to do so. Once the bail is arranged, the arrested person is released from jail on signing a bond to appear for trial to a specified time and place. Sometimes it may be necessary for at least one or other person to be a security to act as a security for that person, a person who takes the responsibility of making the suspect appear for trial. Now, rights of arrested person. The Constitution and criminal laws of India have given certain rights to an arrested person. Some of them are the right to be informed of the reason for arrest, the right to consult and the defended by the lawyer of his or her own choice, the right to be produced before a magistrate within 24 hours of arrest, and the right not to be kept in custody beyond that time without the magistrate permission. The right not to be tortured, which includes the right not to be deprived of the basic necessities like food, clothing, and shelter. The right not to be forced to be a witness against his or her own self. The right not to be called outside his or her residence only for questioning. The Supreme Court has issued a set of guidelines known as the D.K. Basu guidelines, which have to be followed while arresting, detaining, and questioning a power. This includes the police personnel who make the arrest or do the questioning must wear accurate, visible, and clear identification and name tags with their designation. A memo of arrest containing the date and time of arrest must be prepared at the time of arrest. It must be attested by at least one witness who may be a relative of the arrested person or a resident of the locality where the arrest is made. The arrested person should also sign the memo. The arrested person has the right to inform a relative or well-wisher about the arrest and the police of custody if the arrest memo is attested by someone other than a relative. If such relative or well-wisher lives in another district or town, the police must notify the time and place of arrest and the place of custody within 8 to 12 hours of making the arrest. Injuries, if any, on the body of the arrested person should be examined on request and recorded at the time of arrest. The arrested person should also be examined by a trained government doctor every 48 hours while in custody. The arrested person may be allowed to consult a lawyer during the questioning, though the lawyer cannot be present throughout. Now, how a policeman receive an FIR? The full form of FIR is the first information report. An FIR is a written report of a cognizable offence given to a police soon after the offence is discovered. It may be given in written or dictated to a police officer who writes it down. An FIR should mention the name and address of the informant, the time, date and place of discovery of the offence reported, the true facts of the incident if known, in the correct order, the names and description of persons involved if known, the witness if any. The informant has the right to verify the information recorded by the police is exactly as reported. Having done so, the informant must sign the FIR and take a copy of it, which the police must supply free of cost. Police investigation into an offence begins on the basis of an FIR. How the filing of an FIR is done? Ideally, an FIR should be filed in the police station that has jurisdiction over the area where the offence has been committed. But this is not essential. An FIR may be filed in any police station. It is the duty of the police to forward the FIR to the appropriate police station. Not accepting an FIR is illegal. It is compulsory for the police to accept any FIR. Refusing to file an FIR is illegal. However, if a police station does refuse to file an FIR, the informant can send the report in writing and by post to the superintendent of police concerned, or file a private complaint in a suitable court, or make a complaint to the Human Rights Commission. Generally, when a police station refuses to file an FIR, it does so on the ground that the offence reported has been committed in an area outside its jurisdiction. However, the Supreme Court has declared this practice illegal. The Supreme Court has issued the following instruction for the filing of FIR. A police station must accept an FIR even if the reported offence have been committed outside the area under the police station's jurisdiction. A police station must accept an FIR even if the informant cannot give details such as the victim's name, the offender's name, how the offence was committed and so on. The receiving police station must forward the FIR to the appropriate police station for further action if the reported offence has not been committed within the area under its jurisdiction. Duty to investigate. When an offence comes to the notice of the police or is reported through an FIR, officers are sent to carry out an investigation. A proper investigation involves collecting evidence. It includes questioning witnesses and recording the statements. After investigation, a charge sheet containing accusation against anyone believed to be guilty is prepared. The charge sheet is submitted in a suitable criminal court, which is often the court of a magistrate. Now, role of the court. On receiving a charge sheet, the court frames a charge against the accused. The accused must be given a copy each of the charge sheet, the FIR, and the statement of the police questioned by the police. The accused may plead not guilty and ask for trial. The accused has a right to be defended by a lawyer of his or her choice. A lawyer who defends an accused in a court is called a defense lawyer. If the accused is too poor or otherwise unable to hire a lawyer, the court has a duty under Article 398A of the Constitution to appoint a defense lawyer who is paid by the government. Now, trial. How the trial is done. A criminal court has the power to make inquiries in connection with cases brought before it for trial. The court has to decide whether the police investigation has been carried out properly or not, whether the available evidences support the charges brought by the police or not, whether the evidences recorded with the police is real or not. In criminal cases, the government is always the party that sues the accused. A lawyer who represents the government is called the public prosecutor. Public prosecutors are appointed by the government. At the end of the trial, the judges give the verdict. If the court is satisfied that the charges are valid, it orders punishment for the accused in its verdict. Now, what is fair trial? Trial may cause a person to be sentenced to death or imprisonment. In other words, it may take away the person's life or personal freedom. Article 21 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to life and liberty, mentions that if a person's life or liberty is to be taken away, it can be done only by a reasonable and fair legal process. This implies that a fair trial has to be carried out. A fair trial requires the following condition to be fulfilled. Firstly, the accused is given a copy each of the charge sheet, the FIR and the statement based on which the charge has been framed. The trial is held in an open court which include the public, including the relatives and well-wishers of the accused. The trial is held in the presence of the accused. The accused is defended by a lawyer. The defense lawyer is allowed to question the witness presented by the public prosecutor and also allowed to present his or her own witnesses. The case is decided impartially only on the basis of the available evidences. Now, what is the role played by the public prosecutor? The purpose of a trial is to find out whether the accused is guilty or innocent. In the trial, the public prosecutor represents the government, not the police. The public prosecutor's duty is to act in the interest of justice. The ideal public prosecutor is not concerned about getting the accused punished, but only helps the court find out the truth. So, we have read the chapter Police and the Court. What is the role of court? What is the role of police? What is the role of public prosecutor? What is the role of role played by the police during filing the FIR? So that we have read. So in the next class we will be provided with the question answer from this role of police and court. Thanking you, student.